Have you ever just stopped and wondered what really connects you to, say, the tree outside your window or the birds flying by? Well, it turns out there's this incredible set of rules that links every single living thing on our planet. So let's just dive right into this amazing web of life.
Okay, to kick things off, I want you to chew on this question for a second. What could you possibly have in common with a spiky cactus and a camel from the desert? I know, it sounds like the beginning of a really weird joke, but trust me, there's a seriously cool answer and we are going to figure it out together.
All right, so to even start answering that question, we first have to understand the stage where the entire drama of life plays out. And that stage, as you can see right here, is the environment. So what is an environment, really? It's so much more than just the background scenery. Think of it as everything, and I mean everything, that surrounds a living thing. From the sunlight hitting its leaves, to the water it drinks, to the other creatures it bumps into. All of that stuff works together to decide if something can survive, if it can grow, and if it can truly thrive. And we can actually break down any environment into two main parts. First, you've got the biotic factors. That's all the living or once living stuff. The plants, the animals, the fungi, you name it. Then you have the abiotic factors. Those are the non-living things, like sunlight, temperature, rocks, and water. You absolutely need both of these sides of the coin working together to have a healthy ecosystem. And this table, this really just spells out a universal truth about life, doesn't it? I mean, look at all the overlap. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a plant, an animal, or a person, there are some basic needs that are just non-negotiable. Things like water and air, pretty much every form of life on Earth needs them, and they all come straight from the environment. But here's the thing, living creatures don't just sit there in their environment. No way. They are constantly interacting with each other, forming this incredibly complex and tangled web of relationships. And this is where the story gets really, really interesting. So sometimes these relationships are just a perfect partnership, a total win-win for everyone involved. We call that mutualism. The classic example, of course, is the bee and the flower. The bee gets food, the flower gets to reproduce. It's a beautiful thing. Nature is just packed with these kinds of deals. Like a clownfish hiding in a sea anemone, the fish gets protection and the anemone gets cleaned. Everybody wins. Then you've got something called commensalism, which is, well, it's more of a win-neutral kind of deal. Picture this, an orchid growing way up high on a branch in the rainforest. The orchid gets this massive benefit, right? It gets sunlight it would never see down on the dark forest floor. And the tree? The tree just doesn't care. It's not helped, it's not hurt, it's just there. Of course, not every relationship out there is quite so friendly. You've got your win-lose situations like predation, where one animal, the predator, hunts and eats another for food. A bit different, but still a win-lose, is parasitism. That's where one organism lives on or inside a host, usually harming it over a long period of time. It's tough for sure, but these relationships are absolutely essential for keeping nature in balance. Now, the most basic, most fundamental relationship of all really boils down to just one thing: energy. To live, you gotta eat. So let's follow the energy as it moves through the system. Okay, so here's a food chain in its simplest form. It all kicks off with the sun, right? The sun gives energy to the grass. Then a rabbit comes along and eats the grass. A snake eats the rabbit, and finally, an eagle snags the snake. See how that works? The energy just gets passed up the line one link at a time. But let's be honest. In the real world, things are never that neat and tidy. Nature is messy. An eagle doesn't only eat snakes, it might grab a rabbit too. And snakes eat more than just rabbits. That's where the food web comes into play. It's a way more realistic picture of what's going on, showing how all these little food chains connect and overlap. It creates a system that's much stronger and way more stable. Okay, so we have this complex web of energy moving around on the stage we call the environment. Let's zoom out a bit now and look at the entire system and the absolutely incredible ways that life has figured out how to survive in it. So when you take all these pieces, the living things, the non-living things, and all their interactions, what you get is what we call an ecosystem. An ecosystem can be gigantic, like an entire ocean, or it can be something as small and simple as a single puddle after a rainstorm. Each one is its own little world with its own unique set of rules. And here is the most important thing to remember. Everything is connected. This quote says it all perfectly. You can't just pull one thread, like taking one type of fish out of a pond, without sending ripples through the whole system. It affects the bugs that fish ate, the plants that relied on it, even the quality of the water itself. It's that interconnected.
So, how on earth do living things manage to survive in all these wildly different places? Well, they have these amazing special features called adaptations. A fish has gills to breathe in its underwater world, a polar bear has that super thick fur for the freezing cold, and this brings us right back to our original question. What do you have in common with a cactus and a camel? The answer is this. All of you are absolute masters of adaptation. The cactus has spines instead of leaves to save water, the camel has its hump to store fat for energy on long desert trips, and your ultimate adaptation is that incredible brain of yours, which lets you create tools and shelter and clothing to survive in almost any environment on the entire planet. Which, of course, leads us to the final and maybe the most important part of our story. With this amazingly powerful adaptation of ours, what is our role in this whole delicate balance?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of what we do tends to throw these finely tuned systems completely out of whack. By cutting down forests, polluting our water and our air, and changing the climate so quickly, we're putting a huge amount of pressure on this web of life, and it's threatening the stability of the whole thing. But the story doesn't have to end there, not at all. Just as we can cause harm, we can also be an incredible force for healing. We can help bring back that balance. We can plant trees, we can protect our wild places, we can cut down on waste, and we can just try to be a bit smarter about using the resources we have. Let's wrap this up with the one idea that really ties it all together. It's a simple truth, but a powerful one. We are all in this together. Every single living thing, from the tiniest microbe in the soil to the biggest whale in the ocean, depends on its environment and on the other living things in it. When one part of that system is damaged, we all feel the effects. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. You are not just an observer of this web of life, you are an active, crucial part of it. So the real question isn't just about what you have in common with a cactus and a camel. The real question is, what can you do to strengthen the connections all around you? What's one thread in this amazing web that you can help protect, starting today?